Credit unions are working hard on member business lending. What's the progress or lack thereof this year and into the future?
Well, things are fairly quiet right now because people are back home campaigning. We are encouraging our credit unions and our leagues to stay in touch with their lawmakers when they're back home, and we want to continue to do that. We have made progress. I keep saying we're not dead yet, and we're still not. There's times that we've been on life support, but we're still hanging in there. We have a strategy in the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid hotlined the bill and in order to raise any objections that people have had. There's been some people who've expressed some concerns about the bill, and we're addressing those concerns. But we're still hopeful, even in a lame duck session, which is all we have left this year, that the Majority Leader will be able to find an appropriate vehicle to advance this legislation and try and get it done before the end of the year.
Capital is a big issue for credit unions. Discuss the future of risk-based and supplementary or alternative capital.
Well, capital reform is our top priority for next year from a legislative perspective. We've been very encouraged by Chairman Matz and her comments recently in saying that she sees capital as a safety and soundness issue. We agree with her 100%. We think we have a consensus now in the industry to support NCUA's efforts to get alternative capital, as well as risk-based capital, as well as additional tools for the regulator to use to help credit unions in this type of crisis. So even with a Congress that promises to be somewhat different next year than it is this year, we know that they're going to be talking about capital reform, and that is at the top of our list, and we want to make sure that we're at the top of Congress's list when they're considering that in the 112th Congress, I believe.
Why are the bankers able to hold such sway and block credit unions' lobbying efforts?
Well, banks have more money than we do. We've known that forever. And we've been able to say in the past, they have more money, but we have more votes. And I still firmly believe that. 92 million credit union members, 65% of them are willing to help their credit unions. I can guarantee you that 65% of bank customers aren't willing to help their bank. I mean, they might like their local bank, but they're not necessarily, especially in this environment, supportive of banks in general. But they have more money. Community bankers typically are, very involved in their community and have close relationships with lawmakers. We need to do a better job, as I said early on, of strengthening our grassroots, strengthening our contacts, and making sure that we have a seat at the table in every local community. A 535-seat strategy, 435 representatives, 100 senators. We need the right people involved with those representatives in all 50 states and the District of Columbia in order to advance what credit unions need in the future. Banks have been around a long time. They have, as I said, a lot of money. They're well connected in their communities. They've lost some credibility in this crisis, and quite frankly, credit unions have, I think, enhanced our standing in Washington in this crisis because of the great work credit unions have done in their communities, reaching out to members, serving them, continuing to meet their credit needs. You look at the statistics, bank lending, there was even a Wall Street Journal article not too long ago that the decline in bank lending is the greatest since the 1940s. At the same time, credit union lending has increased by comparable measures, on the upside. So it's going to be a better environment for credit unions, but in order to achieve that, we've got to get this grassroots support coordinated better.